Let me put this on the table right now. Am I a fan of Vic Mignogna? Yes. But am I a devoted fan where everything I do on YouTube or out in and out on and off YouTube relates to him? Am I like a fanatic? No. I mean, believe it or not, despite the fact that the I Stand with Vic video collection I've done has the highest amount of videos in my YouTube backlog, it's not the one that's been going the longest. That's my Mets Tries collection, which I've been doing since 2017 on and off. This I've only been doing since 2019 on and off. That said, this boils down to my frustrations with someone who does comment a lot on the I Stand with Vic content I do, and even some of the stuff that doesn't involve Vic I do. That being the YouTube user Jordan Avant. Dude, not everything I do in my life has to deal with Vic, but yet, and this even includes at least two of my panel videos in my Convention Ventures backlog, where you've commented asking if the voice actor in question is still friends with Vic, where I basically try to say, or either one, I don't acknowledge the question because this has nothing to do with Vic, or two, I just simply say I don't know. The two videos in cases and points are my Kyle A. Bear panel clip from Animazement last year, and my panel video involved Am I John Bush panel from Collecticon Charlotte, which occurred this past Sunday. The latter of which did involve Vic, but only in a somewhat and roundabout manner, or even though I didn't mention Vic by name. Let's see, where is it? Here it is. Like I said, not everything I do here has to relate to Vic. I mean, I have branched out in the past year plus, several years, going back into wrestling predictions, even putting up videos of wrestling matches. Is there not on the mainstream? Even starting my own little pseudo podcast with Mega Man NG, where we predict wrestling shows, occasionally make predictions for other sports, and do occasional play by play calls. And I've been doing the latter of those a lot recently, both off in and out of the stream yard, more so in it than out it when I figured out how to use the damn extension. And if I could figure out how to stream on Twitch on something other than a cell phone, I'd be able to do Luffy Cooks again. And for those who don't know what Luffy Cooks is, that's my Twitch. Luffy Deathwalker is my Twitch handle, and I basically use it for little mini home cooking and concoction videos. It's something I've done on and off since 2021. And unfortunately, given that Twitch does a 2 week deal where if you don't save the video, it's gone within 2 weeks, you're not going to find the videos up anymore. As for what I do in those videos, I basically just take whatever ingredients are on hand and basically show people how to make thrown together OG home cooking recipes, or just show convenient recipes you can make even if they've already been done before in the past. That's what I do on Twitch when I'm able to figure out when I do it. Of course, I have to be mobile with this, with Luffy cooks, but I got no options. Regardless, Jordan, not every video I do w- outside of the collection has to do with Vic. Now, as for how the Johnny panel video relates to Vic in a roundabout and somewhat way, there's a link to Dylan of Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything's channel with a video that relates to it. The case of the lost Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal dub. Backdrop. About 10, 12, 13 years ago, in 2011 or so, with 5Ds basically rushed in its wrap up by 4Kids because they wanted to get to the next series right away. Konami, fed up with how 4Kids media was basically dumbing down the Yu Gi Oh! Series, but then again, they dumbed down just about every anime series they got their paws on. Well, technically, with Pokemon, they Americanized it, but people hated that fact, and thus 4Kids lost the license to that, and it was given to the Pokemon Company in general. Though most people like the dub, most wanted to be purist Japanese stuff instead of Americanized. Guys, Toei took back the One Piece rights and gave it to Funimation when they saw how toned down that was. Mew Mew Power, which was turned to Tokyo Mew Mew, got ripped away from them. I don't know who's got it now. Maybe Crunchyroll's got it. I don't know. Sonic X, TMS, while they let them off the hook, I wouldn't have done that, as some of the aspects of Sonic X's darker storylines were again toned down. And of course, Yu Gi Oh! Had to be severely toned down when compared to its Japanese counterpart. But in my view, rushing GX and Zek and 5D's endings to leaving them incomplete, i.e., we never saw the final 25 episodes or so of Yu Gi Oh! GX or the last 20 or so of 5Ds here in the States. Those were the straws that ended up breaking the camel's back. So, 4K Konami sued 4Kids in hopes of getting them off the Yu Gi Oh! License once and for all. In preparation for that happening, Konami went to Bang Zoom Entertainment and asked if they'd be willing to do their version of a Yu Gi Oh! Zexal dub. Johnny told me that had that case not fallen through and fallen to pieces, the Zexal dub that we would have gotten would have been much closer to the original Japanese cut. And for those wondering who Johnny was going to play in that dub, he was going to play Yuma Tsukumo. And if you look in the video list when you look at the cast, Vic Mignogna would have been Reginald Shark Castle. Again, had the lawsuit not fallen through and had 4Kids not ponied up with lawyers to basically force Konami to drop the case, and to drop the lawsuit. Plus, out of the 143 episodes, only 26 of them ever got made anyway. You want the full story? Go to the link to Dylan of Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything's Case of the Lost Zexal dub, which is in the description box. Box on your link to a video about panel question. Jordan, Vic is still good friends with Johnny. I mean, Johnny is still good friends with Vic, to the best of my knowledge. And for those wondering what the other question I asked Johnny what was, it that one had nothing to do with Vic. It was more JoJo related. Basically, I asked if Johnny would ever buy if when Part Seven, the Steel Ball Run, gets greenlit, would Johnny be willing to take up the mantle of Johnny Joestar, who's a far cry, who's more of a prick when compared to Johnny's portrayal of the more gentlemanly Jonathan Joestar from Phantom Blood. Mostly because this would be Johnny's way to get back in the game, as it's quite obvious to me Pat Seitz will be coming back to reprise the role of Dio. Granted, this would be Diego Brando, but it still applies that since spoiler for Steel Ball Run, Dio from another timeline does show up in this timeline at some point in the manga. Again, we're gonna have to wait if David Productions is gonna pull the trigger on doing a seventh JoJo part. Given the poor reception and from Stone Ocean, given it was put on Netflix and not syndicated network TV, it's up in the air right now. But Jordan, please do not assume every video I'm going to do in this backlog is not going to do with Vic. It's going to do with Vic. What I did Collecticon had very little to do with him, and the Amazement Kyle Abear panel, where he questioned if Vic was still on good terms with Kyle, had nothing to do with him. And even then, I only did like 10 minutes of the Kyle Abear panel video Kyle Abear panel last year. That's all I gotta say about that. I stand with Vic now, then, forever. Leave a comment, smash a like, and sub to the channel. This is Mets2128 signing out. Goodbye and good night. Bang.